Hello, everybody.
Is it
Welcome.
on?
Yes, it's on. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Let's Get Dangerous Gen Con Recap 2024. I should have wrote this down so it would have been a lot more fluid when we started, but here we are. Obviously, we have all members of LGD tonight. We have you guys. Go ahead, sound off. You can do your thing. That means speak.
Who wants to go first? Anybody?
Oh my God. All right, fine.
Me. It's
Yeah. Go ahead, Pat.
okay. Yeah, it's Patrick Wing Deck.
Ralph.
Next.
There's good old Ralph, Mr. Blue 666 himself. Always showing love to the team.
All right. Jose.
I'm Jose. That's all I got.
Wow.
Mm,
Hector.
but sweet.
It's Hector. That's all I got. I'm sorry. You know
Uh,
that yo intro. I have that written down right here. Yo.
You're the only one
Okay,
prepared,
I'm
bro.
done.
Yo, MTV raps. Let's go.
Yo, let's take it back to the basement. That'll be it. Anyway, that's not what we're here for. That's not what we're here
All right.
for. All right. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and let Pac take the lead right now because my man's is tired. I got a newborn at home. That's why I wasn't at Gen Con. That's why I didn't win Gen Con this year. So sorry I missed beating all of you guys.
So good. You was there in spirit.
There you go. Um,
I would have been top 8 day 2. Nah, go ahead.
friendly fire from the get go. There we go. Okay, so wait, dude, too. All right. So let's start with what do we think was what do we think was going to show up? So what I think was I thought Venom was going to show up. It has 8 heat. It gets really, if you have hate, you have some game against, and if you don't have counter, you don't have game against. That's what I was thinking from the get go. I didn't really consider. I didn't really consider. I wasn't sure. Let me think. I
Did
briefly thought
wait,
about Sinister Six.
is
What?
is Pat breaking up for anybody else or is it just me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep,
yeah,
same.
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah. Like as soon as he opened his mouth,
I was like, hold on. Why
I
does
was
it
like,
sound
okay,
like
I guess we're gonna have to deal with this.
All right. So
Okay. How
as
about
Patrick was saying, he's saying he didn't expect much Sinister Six, but Sinister Six did show up. He also stated before he was breaking up that he expected a lot of Venoms, which is true. Venom did show up and try to dominate, as Venom usually does. What are the decks? I personally thought, since Team Apex was going, all 30,000 of their members, uh, they were going to play something loyal. They've been rocking loyal for like 3, 4
no,
tournaments in a
for
row. Like,
real. I
doing,
really I really
doing
thought it
very
was gonna
well
be a
with
lot
that.
more loyal
They
there.
should just change their name to Team Loyal, like because they're doing really well with that. My respect for them who rocking loyal. That's just not my cup of tea because I like different interactions. But
You don't
hey,
drink tea.
Loyal's doing it. They need to start banning those cards, man, so they can stop playing Loyal. Team Apex gotta. Uh, they need to lose
New
their edge
Apex
on them.
meta. I'm done.
Hector? What did you expect?
Um, are we talking about the Gen Con here? I was under the
Yes.
impression we were talking about Ohio. Damn it! And I took notes on Ohio. No,
That's just that.
in all seriousness, reading the meta, I feel like I spent a long time trying to understand the meta, and, and I
Nah,
expected
that's fair.
yeah, no, I mean, a long time. After Ohio, like right after, like a minute after, I was already thinking about, what was going to play. No, but in all seriousness, like, I agree with Ralph, and I think what actually Pat said. So I expected a lot of Venom, a lot of loyal decks. There were a few decks that I thought would show up, that weren't there, which is really interesting. I think when Pat and I chatted before, I think that we weren't thinking about this either Sinister Six or Death.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
but I mentioned Death, man. Death is still a monster.
Well, not anymore. She's incurred. That bitch is done.
I'm upset. I'm mad I missed that. I miss Kingpin and Death. Like I'm sad.
Yeah, both. Yeah, but your mom and your dad done. What was I going to say? I think, well, Jose's going to talk about this, but like, I also was considering Molecule Man. I think that he's very finessey. I
Yeah, he
don't
is.
think that the player can pick him up and just like do well with him. I think you gotta like he's playing at a high level, and even at that high level, you still have to do reps, and it's not easy to play him, as Jose is going to tell us now.
He's not easy to be played. Look, that's about it. No, for the format, thought Venom was the boogeyman, but it almost reminded me of like a few years ago when we thought Odin was going to be the boogeyman, but then he never showed.
Yep.
So I just decided to try. I'm like no anti counters because I'm just like I didn't think anyone's going to play him, but clearly I was wrong. And it was one of the other decks that I had brought with me that I was thinking of switching to for day two. Different, actually, than all the Venoms there, but I had an interesting Venom, which sadly will never see the light of day. But there is some interesting stuff in that Venom that I might consider playing at Florida if I go. So I'm not going to talk about that one quite yet.
Heard it here
Oh,
first.
that's
Jose
pretty
Flores
deck.
might be
I
in
like that.
Florida.
Hot news.
Hot
Look
off
at
the
this deck.
presses.
Look at that.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
so Jose, you clearly played Molecule Man. This is beautifully dovetailing into our next subject. What did you play, and why did you play it?
Molecule Man, like as in the cards in the deck, or
I mean, just kind of, yeah,
uh,
I mean, you don't have to go card by card, but kind of like, what was your overall strategy?
uh, I just liked him. More than anything, I liked him. I took John Phillips decks and then like I just started playing with it, made some changes. It was really fun. It was really complicated to play. So I was like, screw it, I'm gonna go with this. The biggest tech card really that I put in there was Nakota because she was really broken. Like I being able to look at your opponent's hand and pick out a character that's just gonna damage, like could completely screw you, and just remove it. I think that was broken, and then looping that with Singularity. I think I only pulled it off like twice in the tournament, something like that, once or twice in the tournament, and just always every single turn just picking out their biggest character, and just there was yeah, that was the biggest tech, and it was fun. We lost Pat again.
Nope, my phone. My phone is more powerful than my computer. Keep going.
Oh my god.
But yeah, and then I guess to add to that, I did only have I think I want to say like a week and a half of play testing. So even if I did like I started with Molecule Man, and I'm just like I just got to end with this guy because there's not enough time to pick or test anything else up.
I was
Yeah,
actually gonna say that. I
you
don't
just
think
went
a lot of
you went all
people.
in on that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people tested a lot for this one. I think this one kind of had the least amount of testing because we knew everything that was out there already. It wasn't like a couple of years back where Gen Con came and there was like a release really soon before it.
Yeah, this year was a lot slower year when it comes to releases. So basically, it was just another like piggyback off of Ohio.
Yeah.
Like whatever you tested in Ohio, pretty much was what you was gonna test for Gen Con. Like you did half the work already. Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I don't play in that many tournaments a year, but this one was definitely like the shortest amount of time between like playing in one tournament and playing in the next. And like I don't think any of us had a lot of time to test. Like, with summer break, like there was like lots of activities with my kids and stuff. We did like a family vacation and stuff, and then I got back and I fell back on what do I like to play? Like Jose was with Molecule Man. I was like, I like to play Valkyrie. I think she's got a decent Venom matchup. He can get big. I can block his stats, and then Sword of the Valkyrie him.
You guys know me. I was always on the Valk hype train. So
Yeah.
I love Valk. Anytime I can play Valk, I'm playing House.
So the so like Pat, I also played Valk, and so my journey in versus has kind of evolved over time. So I hadn't played in a really competitive in-person tournament since 2020, and I showed up at Ohio. Um, like literally, like actually, so there were many rules that I didn't even know. Um, so Pat was very nice enough to give me for Ohio Bark Monster, which was okay, and I did okay at Ohio. Or actually not okay, I did bad.
I was about to say,
Um,
like, what was your
and
record?
I did pretty bad. I did pretty bad. Like
No, no,
I'm
no.
not gonna
Spill it. What was your record?
uh one, two and some two and X.
Damn.
Actually one and X.
It's his record doesn't show like so. As Hector had mentioned, it's been forever since he's played versus competitively, and like I've obviously been friends with him forever, so I may be slightly biased, but I was actually proud of how he performed. There was like every one of the matches he lost, he was in it, and it was like they beat him by like one wound or something like that. He was like very close to beating a couple very good players.
I love that he just
And
came out. He was like,
no,
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, as is the case in pretty much every tournament I play, the first round I'm like, wait a second, like, how does this deck work? And then by
Yeah.
about round three, I got the hint.
Nah, I feel
You
you
know,
on that.
a key card in Ohio, and I'm sorry to continue talking about Ohio, but again, just to reiterate, I have notes about Ohio. But Pat was like, oh, play bark monsters and then ramp. You ramp with this card, TVA. TVA came out way after I stopped playing. So
Yeah.
I had
That's
heard
true.
about it, but I had never used it. And my first game, it was very clear that I had never used it. Because I played the card, and my opponent, and I did not ramp once with TVA, but my opponent ramped every turn. I was like, wait, I'm gonna ramp this turn. And then he was like, nope, not now. So
Hector likes playing from off the back foot. He's like, you know what? Here's an advantage for you. I'm still gonna beat you.
He's like, I'm so good. I'm giving you a handicap.
I
Yeah.
did not win that game. Just to be
Oh my gosh.
um, so after Ohio, I told Pat, I'm really gonna have to hit the lab hard.
Yeah.
Like, because I need to learn this game. And I had lots of big thoughts, but then it ended up being that I told Pat, hey, I want to play Valk because I either win early or I don't. That's
Yeah.
basically it. I don't have to worry about what the opponent's playing. I either hit my combo or I
Yeah.
don't. Now,
That's hilarious.
granted,
Lord.
MC the Sinister Six MC, right? I wasn't anticipating. Honestly, I didn't even know that they were legal. Um, I was like, oh shit, Sinister Six. What am I gonna do? And in all seriousness, this is how it happened.
Nice. Nice.
That's
That's a good
hilarious.
story. That's a good story.
I love
All
it.
right. Let me see. Where are we? Okay. So, Jose, why don't you tell us about your day one?
Oh, man, I don't remember how any of my days went.
Okay.
I do have player history up here that I just pulled up. What? All right, let's see. According to this, number one, it says I did really bad.
These numbers can't be right.
Numbers are horrible. Okay, so according to this, game one was a bye, which I mean, I got a bye. You took that advantage went around, looked at what everyone was playing, and realized I have no idea what I'm doing for this tournament. So
Fair.
I'm like, what are all these cards? Fair enough. Round two, according to this, I played Vern. I remember my chocolate delight.
Hey.
He was one of the wrestlers. The only one
Adam
was
Cole.
and yeah, I think it was Adam Cole. And Molecule Man takes a few minutes, and I wasn't able to stabilize. And I think he drew Mordo and Killmonger, and he had two of the +3/+3, whatever that card that is, and
Yep.
was able to stave me off with that. And it just was what it was, and just killed me really fast.
Who has
Yep.
fever?
So round three was playing Burt, Sen 6. It was an interesting build he was working on. I honestly, after playing Lorcana for now the last year, I didn't think I'd go to time in any one of these, but my goodness. I
It
don't know if it was
happens.
me, him, combination, or what, but we won a time. And I want to say I had 4, maybe 5 wounds, and I had stabilized. The problem was he had already tried to stave off like at least 2 to 3 wounds with Ash. Ash Sandman. So if the game kept going, my board was big enough that I don't think I could have lost that. But time, and because of time, it is what it is. Next game, according to this, Jamil playing the new Bullseye, I think.
Yep.
Same thing. I got slapped really early, multiple times, really hard, really fast. I think by the time I stabilized,
Yeah, you like that.
it was time, and I believe that one went to time as well. And I think that one, I forget why, but I think that one we also started a few minutes late. So I don't know if that would have changed anything, but either way, like, yeah, it was one of those things. He had hit me really hard, and then, as I said, I think I stabilized, but who knows? All these decks and all these new cards, I've been having to read them, and for all I know, he had like a trick to get to me. So round five, because I'm doing so good right now, lost, lost, lost. I got another bye. So,
Oh,
Oh, the double buy. The double
Wait,
buy.
what?
Say it ain't so.
you
so
did
Is that
at this point, I know you have the best records in the room.
it.
I don't know how I don't have the worst,
is that
but
even possible?
that was the big question, whether it was possible to get 2 buys. But upper deck YOLO'd and just went with it. So okay. Round six, according to Mike Milholland.
How do you
Um,
get 2 buys?
Probably, is weirdly enough, this was probably one of my favorite matches of the tournament. Not because of the match itself, but I want to say we were sitting next to Dawson and PJ, and I could be wrong on this. And just the way the whole round started, like everyone kind of like did like a little handshake. I think I saw them next to them do a little handshake, so we did a handshake, and then we started shaking hands to each other next to the people that are not in our matches, and then we started shaking hands diagonally, and it was just we were all actually laughing, and it was just it's why I showed up to Gen Con, right? The cards are great, but number one, the people. So that's probably was my funnest moment of the entire weekend, just FYI. And
Wow.
then let's see,
Didn't y'all
Mike,
go
he
to
was playing
dinner?
Venom. Huh? What's that?
I'm fucking with you. I said, didn't y'all go to dinner?
Did not.
No, I'm
Who's?
fucking. I'm fucking with you. Just
Oh, okay.
damn.
But yeah, so he was playing Venom. I think this is one of those cases where I was able to get that. I was able to pin Venom down, and then I just got that Dakota, whatever her name is, loop, and just every single turn I was just picking off 1 to 2 cards out of his hands because I was also using Doorman, Door Guy, Doorbell, whatever his name is, to
Wow.
kind of get like 2 characters out
Doorman
of his
Luke.
hands.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
Said doorbell.
yeah.
I am done.
Um,
Ding, 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 ding.
so that one I picked up a win. Last round was PJ. He was Daniel Bryan. I think that was like the one matchup in that week that I really had practice with because I was like, this is the most aggressive. If I can hold off on this one, I'm solid. So that match I just had Pat down, froze him. He got like I think 1 wound and he never attacked again, and then it just went downhill for him from there. But that sneaky man was saving his good stuff for day 2. Yeah, he
Like
was. Yeah, you
literally
were,
every race.
PJ. All right, so let's go. Oh, that's funny. So he's how I ended my day two, and he's how I begun. I'm sorry, my day one, and he's how I begun my day two. This man pulled the Buckeye secret weapon on me, death, and within 5 minutes, I'm like, there is nothing here I can do to win this. And I was right. I think he even just made me discard my whole deck, and I don't even remember what else. And I was just like, yep, that's over.
Oof.
It says round two was Chris T. Oh, yes. He was playing. What is the vampire dude? That like
Morbius.
Morbius. Nope.
green, green
Deacon Frost.
Deacon Frost.
He
He played Deacon
showed up.
Frost. He stole one of my guys, but I was still just able to freeze him in place. And then sooner or later, I pulled out like the Big Daddy deck, and
Giggity.
and I just
Nailed
used
it.
it to slap him a few times. Round three was good old Kayla. She was playing.
Say little Kayla.
What's that Daredevil guy that with
Did you
multiple personalities?
excuse me, did you just
Moon
say
Knight.
little
Moon Knight.
Kayla?
So she was playing Moon Knight, and it was I think it was the same thing. Essentially, it just froze her, and then I was able to get all the Ultrons out, and then they were just like slapping Moon Knight every turn. Um, round four, John Phillips. I still don't know what the hell he did to me that game, but like he just
It's Kingpin, baby.
I saw Kingpin and I just so I remember with him I kept a hand with like the 2-drop Leviathan, and I'm like I just need to try to recycle this guy every turn to try to get rid of his locations, and of course and hope he doesn't draw them enough,
It's
but of
Kingpin,
course he
baby.
did. um, I took out multiple locations, but then he still had multiple in his hand, and I think he figured out what I was doing because he used whatever the 3-drop X-Men character to bring Luke's resources back to his hand, and so he's smart. He just kept them in his hand, and I can't do nothing about it. So
Mirage. Yeah.
yeah, thank you. And then eventually he just took over the world, took me over. Yeah, not much there.
Said
Next,
Kingpin.
Bert
Giggity.
playing Sin 6 again. And I'm like, well, I could have won this one last time, so I'm going to win this one this time. And boy, was I wrong. I did not drop my 2-drop, and Molecule Man just stood there just getting slapped for like 5 turns in a row. Um,
Foul.
I think against Bert, like, I was Bert's boogeyman for like 2 years. Like, I don't know how many tournaments we've run into, and including top eights, and I've always been the one to knock him out. And I'm like, it's Bert's time, so he ended that winning streak.
He smacked
So
you.
good stuff. Um, what else we got here? Last one, really fast. Diego, my friend Diego, came with Diego, and of course we had to play the last game together. Unfortunately, he decided to go Daniel Bryan, which again is the one match I knew very well, so I was able to lock him down. And like with PJ the day before, it was just lockdown, and then just all my Ultron swing, always freeze him. He never unfortunately got a chance to attack, and I won that. And then somehow I squeaked in 8th place. Don't feel like I really deserved to have gotten into that top 16, but we made it.
Hey, you didn't drop.
Yay!
That still counts.
Yeah.
Hey, hey.
All right, Hector, hit us with your days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, in Ohio, the first day of Ohio. No, I'm kidding.
Good shit.
Um, so I signed up only for day one. Apparently, the memo that everybody else was operating on was try something out day one and then win day two. I think had I known that, I would have potentially, actually planned a little bit differently. So I played against an assortment of players. So my first round was against Peter, who showed up with Black Cat. This is from
Black
the
Cat.
old Black Cat from
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Peter took it back.
Yeah. Wow.
So I didn't remember the sequencing of when you roll a dice and when you show MCs. But I decided my interpretation of playing Valk was it's a combo deck. I should, if I win the dice roll, which I did, I should go second. Against anyone else, that would have been a bad decision. Against Black Cat, it was an amazing choice, and I didn't know what he was playing. So not only did I screw it up, I didn't ask for his MC before I, because I didn't remember the sequence.
You
So
failed
it ended up
Not
working out.
successfully.
Logan.
Yeah, it ended up working out
Yeah,
because I went second, and Black Cat, I think she levels if she has more cards than you, if I
Yeah.
recall
yeah,
correctly.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I hadn't read their card in probably since 2015. I don't even know, right? Um, and so I always had more cards than him, and I just got really big. And after a while, it was just too much. So round two, I played against a Scott from Epic Loot, and he played Loyal Moon Knight. Loyal Moon Knight, I knew against Valk was a bad matchup. He has two MCs that respectively have a defense of, I believe, there's one with a 5 and one with a 10, or maybe one with a 7. I can't remember.
Yeah, there's one. The main one is 3. One of the ones is 5. One of the ones is 7. And one of the ones is 10.
So of note, so again, part of the learning experience during tournaments for me, right? So number one is that a rule for Moon Knight I didn't know was a correct rule. So Moon Knight on his level, they're all actually level whatever, level 1. But he transformed. So I had it explained to me in Ohio that when he transforms from his first MC and he goes into his pile, whatever that pile is called,
Yeah.
the Moon Knight pile, that basically he transforms, and that first Moon Knight does not go into your Moon Knight pile. He's
Yep.
only the one that comes out at the end. That is not the case, however.
Yeah,
So
this was like I went back and like I had heard the what you had heard that like it's just the remaining 3. The original comes back at the end, but it was ruled at Gen Con that's not the case. All
it was
4
really good.
are
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
All four are
So it
what?
was weird. Yeah, so all 4 actually go into your pile. So basically,
Yep.
he transforms, and the other 3 are in your pile,
Oh,
Yes.
right? At all times, there's always 3 in the pile.
Yep.
So I had heard the ruling differently, but ultimately, it was probably a good thing
Yep.
because the less chance he has of pulling the 10 defense guy. I mean, obviously with Valk, I'm trying to win early and get really big. His 0-10 can't touch me, but I
Yep.
also can't do anything to him.
Mhm.
So the game ended up being, I think I tried to use what's that MCU card that you can see their hand. You see their hand on the end of the side?
Frigga.
Frigga.
Thank you.
Frigga.
Thank you. Yeah, so yeah, thank you. And because I was worried that he might have either a stand together or super senses in his hand because he was on his character with like 4 defense or something, and
Okay.
he's standing together it, and then he had
Yeah.
several super senses. So
Yikes.
I did consecutive turns where I used Valk to play a red to KO him, and he had a super senses.
Oof.
Unfortunately, that was an L. The rest of the games are a little bit like I don't remember much. So I played against PJ round 3. I think that it was probably like I got really big. Like I'm not probably that's what happened. I played against yeah, I got really big and I won. So
This is how Hector lives his life. When in doubt, he gets big and shit happens.
Best way to do it.
So
Giggity.
the thing about Valk is it's not really an interactive. Like I'm not really even watching what he's doing. I'm just looking at my head the entire time. So I apologize. This is no disrespect to any of my opponents. I apologize. I don't remember your MCs. I'm a lot. Sorry.
It's like I'm
Um,
gonna solitaire this whole tournament and win.
That's
I mean
hilarious.
that. I mean when I talked to Pat about what I could play, given the fact that I didn't know a lot of cards, I was
I
like,
have a,
yeah, this
I
is
have a
a natural
question.
MC for me.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me that you went into this tournament not knowing these cards and you still topped? Like,
Yes. Yes.
like,
Godlike.
Yeah.
like, yo, if that doesn't say
That,
something, bro, like,
so,
come on.
so, so,
Oh,
so,
godlike.
I mean, a lot of people always say, "Oh, I didn't test that much." A lot of people say, "Oh, I didn't really read that much." Like, I can assure you, Pat can testify to this. Like, you know how you just mentioned Nakoda being a super good card meta.
Yeah.
I had not read that card beforehand.
I
So
don't think
like
you own that
when
card.
so when Nakoda came out in one of my games, I was like, oh, very good card.
Yeah.
Um, so
I'm
my fourth
done.
round was against Dawson, which I also won. I can't recall what MC he had. I apologize. Sorry, this is gonna be a lot of that. So my round five was against John
Oh my god.
Phillips, and I remember a little bit about this game. I remember him being really angry. So I probably leveled turn one and wanted turn two. The thing about playing Valk that's really unique, so I'm gonna say something now, is
Yeah.
that during the tournament, like the games ended so quickly that I would go into the hall, the exhibit hall, and I would go to shop. Right? Win or lose. I was gonna lose. The game was gonna be over if I either hit my combo or I didn't. And that was kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. Like if
Because
I
I
had to
was
go to the
living dangerously. That's
bathroom,
the way I like to live. You either win or you're gonna lose. I ain't got time for
if
this
I had to go to the
whiny game.
bathroom,
Yeah.
like I could spend 15 minutes in the bathroom. It was fine.
He
Um,
can and did.
You do.
Oh
Marinated
yeah, if
on
I
his
had to go
throne.
back to the hotel room, if I had to go back to our hotel room,
And
that's amazing.
then what was your last round?
so round six was against Aaron Johnson. I
Ah,
think he played a loyal deck, right?
Daredevil.
Daredevil.
He played loyal Daredevil. I think that my strategy against loyal Daredevil was to actually not allow him to attack ever to level. So I kept crashing my Valk. I was able to actually level up at the right time to time my level, and I won that game.
Hmm.
My last game was against Robert Smallwood, who played this really interesting Venom deck that caused me to discard a lot of cards. I was prepared for Venom. That was one of the MCs that many of us had discussed beforehand. So I knew what my lines were. But I think when he started playing, like that was when I saw Oda for the first time, and then he like used Titan to like keep on. I would kill her, and then she would just come back on the field, and
Yeah.
it was terrible. So kudos. That was a really good deck.
Did you win
So
that
I
matchup or lose?
what's that?
Did you win that or lose that matchup
No,
against
I
Rob?
lost that matchup. Yeah,
Okay.
I think I had I think towards the end I was just up decking. It
Not to
was
be
pretty.
confused with upper decking. Yep.
Yeah. Of course. So I finished five and two during the first day.
Nice, nice. That's
That's actually
good.
that's
Good
amazing.
results. Great results.
That is
Amazing.
hilariously amazing. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I don't think I could either.
um,
Tell
The
us
fun
right there.
part is if they actually, and I know we're going to get into this, if they actually kept the format, like they separated the day one and separated the day two people, you guys might have had a really solid chance to win.
Oh
Because
wait, really? Yeah, is that something that we're going to talk about?
just
Because I
maybe.
have no, I have no on that
I
topic.
don't remember my matches, but let's talk about
yeah. Yeah, but he knows what he wants to gripe about. All right.
Everybody
Let me go
does.
through my day one quick. So the first match I faced was against Papa Milholland. Nice guy, great guy. He was playing Venom, and this is like I said, a match that I thought the lines through on this one. He was going to get big. He was going to heal. I was basically I was looking for a quick level. I was looking for Anya to lock his stats, and then I was looking for pumps to get big enough to take him out. And I think it was on turn 5 I was able to drop Anya, plot twist activator, and take him out. And I think at first he didn't. I think he knows all the cards. I think at first he didn't realize what I was doing. He was kind of like I was. I mean, I wasn't attacking too much. I was basically just waiting for my cards to see if they happened, and they did. But I think he had me at like 4 or 5 wounds at that point, and I wouldn't have been able to win if it hadn't been for the alt win. Round 2 was John Phillips. He was playing Molecule Man, and just as Jose can attest, it's like during like turn 3, turn 4, that's when he really starts popping off. I think John got to go first, which got me worried because if he starts getting his board going, if he starts, getting what's his name, Red Hood out on turn 3, it's bad for me. He did get Red Hood out. I was able to, I think, get him. I think he used the plot twist to avoid one attempt at the alt win, and then I got him the second time. Round 3 was Smallwood, and I this has never happened to me before. Certainly not against Smallwood. I had the God draw. I turn 1 leveled. I had priority. I attacked. I paid the red, and it was over. We both laughed about it, and I said to myself, I was like, "This is never going to happen in this tournament again, possibly in my versus career." Round 4, I think it was Ryan playing Venom, and his Venom was like one of those combo ones that Mitch had played something similar to in the past, where it's like he's got the aggro early game, he's got the our name is Venom. I'm not sure if he had Codex or not. He's got the heals, and then he wants to take you to the late game and just start dropping bombs. I think I frigged him, and I looked at his hand, and I was like, depending on what he had in his hand, I was going to either just try my own level or potentially mill with Frigga to get the level. And in his hand was Galactus. I was like, why don't you go ahead and mill that? I'm going to go ahead and level up right now. And then it was the same. It was similar to the game against his dad that I was able to just get the Anya, lock his stats, and then take him out. Round 5 was against Aaron. This was a crazy match because I was like, similar to Hector, I had thought I'm not going to let him attack. I'm going to crash. That way he's not going to level. And then I'm going to try some Anya shenanigans. I needed to level, and I also wanted to clear anything out of his hand, like a stand together, so I frigged him, and he stood together the Frigga. I was like, okay, so he's clearly got another stand together in hand. That sucks. And then he was able to clear the Frigga. I was able to drop a second Frigga. I was like, here we go again. Get that stand out of here. And he stood together the second Frigga. I was like, you've got to be joking me. What is happening right now? The only way you're doing that is if you had a third stand together. And so then I went for the kill shot, and he stood together. And at that point, I think I had 5 wounds, and he killed me the next turn. It was. Yeah, I was like, Val can deal with 2 stand togethers. 3 is tough. It was a well-built Daredevil deck, and he was drawing what he needed to. He was using the power up with Daredevil to, there's that Daredevil SC that lets you power up and draw. He was using Street Smarts to draw more cards. So he was seeing a good number of extra cards, and he was able to get what he needed done. The 3rd round, I faced. The 6th round, I faced Ryan's brother, who was on Brian Danielson. And how did that work? Oh yeah, no, oh god, I love Brian. It felt bad. I was like, well, whichever MC wins, it's like in my heart, I'm winning. In this case, I also just won straight up. I think he didn't draw reds. He was going to try to range me, which is obviously what you want to do with Valk. But I don't think he drew any reds. He was able to level, and then he had some. I think it's he leveled and he had 2 greens out. I was like, well, that sucks. And I think I top decked Mordo, and I put down Mordo, and then he was able to come at me with Fearless, but Valk had Ferocious, so I was leveled. Mordo was in the back, and it was just a bad situation for him. And then I was able to get the Anya, get the pumps, and take him out. And then last round was Jamar. Always fun playing Jamar. He always comes up with some cool stuff. He was playing old school Luke, who's someone I looked at. He's similar to Venom. He can just he's not as aggro as Venom, but he can heal. He can go to the late game, and he was able to level relatively quick. He got Iron Fist on the board, and he chose the 4-drop. So he was buffing. He's Iron Fist, 5/5 +4/+4 in melee. He was buffing his own Luke. So Luke was an 8/8 in melee. He threw down a what's her name, Echo, to copy Master Martial Artist. Sorry, the teachers become the student, or the students become the teacher. So Luke was getting 2 buffs. Luke was a 10/10. But then I put down Anya, and I don't think he realized at the time that Anya would still lock his stats, so I was able to alt win him that way. So I finished the day 6-1.
Sheesh,
Beast
sheesh,
mode.
sheesh. That is
Yeah,
crazy.
that
No,
was
Can
that
I
felt
ask
good. Good.
you're able to talk about your matches in such like you even like turn 4 he played this. Jeez.
photo pass
Hector,
memory.
we've discussed this. When you guys are like, "Yo, play
That's
Lorcana,
all
play Star
round.
Wars Universe," I am all in on versus.
I don't all rounds.
I will say it was also I had the same experience as Hector. Like I think not just you guys, but the community knows I generally go up against the clock. The clock is my real enemy. Go like pushing those time limits. But this time I was like, let's play something that is going to be fun and maybe not piss people off. And my matches were finishing with like 20 minutes to spare. And I was like, all right, I'm going to get something to eat. I'm going to take a piss and see what's up next.
Patrick. What are
Yeah.
they gonna say now? What are they gonna say now?
No, no. I think you'd have to like Jeremy Lin. You're gonna have to ask them.
No, I have to admit, Patrick, that
Jeremy
time
Lin.
that in Smallwood, you actually not only took a picture of the timer, but you put it in his face, and you
I did
said,
not.
"Hey,
That's not.
Like, eat this.
That's
No,
not true.
no. I did
That's
not. I
not
didn't
true.
know.
That's not true. That's not true.
Smallwood knows. I did not put it in his face. I took a picture because I was like, I cannot believe what's happening right now. This is
So
absolutely
just to be
nuts.
clear, that's not true.
Okay. Yes. Just like in Deadpool. There's no Human Torch tape on this one. That didn't actually happen.
Stay tuned, guys. I'll tell you exactly what he told me about it.
Uncensored version.
That's the
Okay.
Patreon page. You got to pay for that.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah.
all my OnlyFans is Doctors Without Borders. Hit me up.
There you go.
Hey. It's funny because he actually.
Okay. Let's see. So Hector, tell us about your Sunday.
First, I want to talk about. I think that before we talk about Sunday, we have to talk about like this whole
The
business.
elephant in the room.
Top 80.
Okay.
Okay, let's talk about it, right? We're not
Okay.
let's talk
Oh,
about it.
he's
Okay.
serious. He's serious about this. I'm
So
Yeah,
ready.
he's not messing around.
I
so
agree with him.
okay. So on the first day, they there were some rules that were being said. You know, I wasn't entirely paying attention. I was talking to Pat, but I distinctly remember them saying, okay, so day one, right, is going to play day two, but day one will have an advantage. Whatever that's called. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Priority.
Higher,
Yes.
yeah.
I distinctly remember that, right? And I was thinking, oh, that's an advantage for day one. I can see that, right? Then I didn't show up to after I topped 8. On day one, I didn't show up the following day. There was a lot of talk in the community about how they weren't exactly sure about what the matchups were going to be on Sunday. And there was some chatter about day one playing day one and day two playing day two. I know on the Apex podcast they talked about that. That there was still a little confusion about this, and I think that this was not clarified in advance. And if it was, please feel free to actually send me links. Send me links to the Upper Deck rule set. But I don't think this was ever clear, and I think that it's inappropriate to have people show up and make those kind of rules. Day two clearly has an advantage,
Yeah, they
right? I
do.
think that anyone who's playing knows that. They have seen the field, seen a little bit of the meta on day one, and are able to then incorporate some of the meta plays that they play into day two. And I think that it honestly wouldn't have changed much of what I did. I was only planning on playing one day, and I wasn't considering that I would top, to be perfectly honest. Um, but I do think for people who topped day one, I think they went in as a disadvantage. And I know Jose has already referred to that. And I think that there are multiple podcasts where people say that as well. If they're a little bit weaker on day one, they would prefer to then squeeze out of day one and go into to two. And I think that that's unfortunate, right? So this whole business about the fact that day one would have priority over day two, right? I thought in all aspects, right? So if it's 1 versus 8, right? Obviously, if day one, number one seed is playing against day two, number 8 seed, that's obvious. Day one, number one seed should have priority. Um, I had been under the impression that day one, number 8 seed would have priority over day two, number one seed. And you can say what you will about the fairness of that, but that wasn't what happened. And I think that this whole mixing of day one and two made it so that top eighting in a qualifier was not really even worth it.
Yeah.
And that's really unfortunate. It made for some really bad matchups. Okay, and we saw day two filled all the top four spots.
Yep.
That
Yeah.
was not without accident. That was different. I was told than last year. I didn't play last year.
We were talking. I mentioned that on the chat, and Jose pointed out that probably the only reason that day one was represented on Sunday was because, like, in the top four, was because like all the day ones played to come up with two, and then all the day twos played to come up with two, and then day two won. It's just even like this year in particular, day two had an advantage, and I think that like even when you play like in the top 16, day one, all the day ones play, then all the day two plays. Even still, day two has a strong advantage because they've been able to see and plan.
Yeah. I
Yeah, yeah, I
100%
agree.
agree. Like there's
Agree.
that I don't think that was handled correctly. Especially because when you're going into day two, you can change your deck so drastically, literally the night before, and you get
Yeah,
such a huge advantage. And I'm pretty sure there's a couple of people that did that. Um, I don't know why they changed it because the year that Jose won, all of day one played each other, and then all of day two played each other, and then the winners of day one and day two together to play against each other. So
And that's
it's
how it should have been.
yeah,
At least that's more
Yeah.
fair.
yeah,
Even if
yeah,
the Gaethje still has the advantage, it's still a more fair system than what went
yeah.
on this.
yeah,
To be clear, we're taking nothing away from people who like if the rules are that you can play day one and like like maybe not bring your best stuff and then play on day two after having seen the meta and you do well on day two. We're not saying anything against that. That's the rules that last year and that was the rules this year. We're just saying that like going forward, we all think that it would be better if that was not the case. We kind of rattled around a couple ideas. I know a couple people in their recaps have rattled around ideas, but I feel like either one of two things happens. Like one is it's just one day of play. And like it's either, it can be a top 8, a top 16 or whatever, but it's like just one day of play. The cool thing about that is it would give people more time to enjoy the con. The other option would be just if you play day one or day two, or if you play just one of them or both of them, doesn't matter. You bring one deck list, and that's your deck list for the whole tournament.
Lock deck list. I agree. Either your first option of playing all the way to top 16 and then playing the
Yeah,
finals,
yeah,
or in 2 days, lock lists.
yeah,
Or
yeah,
the option, Pat, which is
yeah.
that you give day one a little bit of an advantage, which is you
Yeah.
allow them to add in some cards and swap out
I
other.
they obviously we definitely discussed that as well, and like certain like what is it? I've never played Magic competitively. I know there's sideboards and stuff like that. I think that the problem with that is that like that that would be probably more like complicated rule wise for like like the judges and the players and stuff like that. That's like a big dynamic shift. Whereas if we just said you can play as many days as you want, if you don't make it in day one, you can play day two, but you're playing the same deck list. Like
Yeah,
just one deck list to rule them all.
yeah. Bringing in a new mechanic like a sideboard might be a little too
Yeah,
much.
that is
Yeah.
probably too
But
much.
yeah, and personally, I hate sideboards. But
I love sideboards. Are you
that's for
kidding
But
me?
this
but
story.
I love sideboards.
but
Mhm.
actually, let's just add, Pat, because I think you said this. Like, so why does versus tournament have to be a couple days? Right?
Yeah.
We had
Yeah.
18 people, I think, on day one.
Yeah.
Right? I think it was less than half sold out.
Yeah.
Right? So why does it have to be three of
Well,
the 4 days
I have a
of
question.
the time?
Day
Yeah.
one, day one, was it on Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people can't make the con on Thursday.
Yeah.
But that's fine. You can just make a date. It just Friday
Maybe
then.
Yeah, Friday. It
Yeah,
used to be on Friday.
yeah.
The thing is, like, so I think UDE's answer to this question, I was thinking about this ahead of time. I took notes too, just so you know. I think that, like, they would say their argument might be like, this will increase the number of players that show up. But between day and day one, I didn't do the exact math, but like shooting from the hip, I think there were like 3 or 4 players that were added day two. It was like Mitch, his girlfriend, and like, 2, maybe 3 other people. And if you had said to those people, you like, it's only one day. If you want to play versus, you have to play in that. They would have adjusted their schedule. Like,
Yeah.
there's no drastic increase in people playing just by splitting over 2 days. I think you could easily make it one day, and I think people would really appreciate that. Or, like I said, one lock list for the whole time.
I think the rationale, and I understand why they're doing it, is that they want to increase the chances of newer players who buy product at the convention to
Mm,
actually have a chance to play and have 2 different opportunities to fit into their schedule to play it. I get it,
yeah,
but realistically, we're what year 8, maybe almost 9 into this game, and the player growth has grown significantly. It's actually gotten
yeah,
less as the years
yeah,
progress. So a one-day tournament logistically makes more sense.
yeah. And if you
But
do one day, and sorry, go ahead.
so you can have a second day where you play a side event. The
Yeah,
fact that
Yeah,
there are
this is
no
the first
side
year that they
events,
can have side events.
the
yeah,
fact
The
that there are
first
no
year.
side events at the tournament, and it's a 3-day tournament. Like, Gen Con is humongous. Like, I think that, whatever reason they decided to do this, I just feel like, it's not like there's 80 players that are itching to play, that we need
yeah,
to say, oh, 40 one day, 40 the other. That's just
yeah, yeah,
not
yeah,
the case.
Yeah,
Yeah.
versus
yeah.
doesn't have those numbers.
Yeah,
Jose, what do you think? Oh, sir.
uh, I apologize. Yeah. Yeah, if you want to talk.
Let's do
So,
this. All right.
Oh, glasses are coming off.
Because I think the one thing I haven't listened to all the podcasts, but the one thing I haven't really heard of is the fact that these tournaments required 16 players to play. Based on the signups, we barely had the 16 people on day one
Mhm.
because I think one Scott had said he couldn't make it, and we were at 17, and which meant that on day two, I think we had like 18 or 19 minus 8 from day one. You would have only potentially had 11 players. So we didn't even know if there was going to be a day two.
Yeah,
really?
And that, because the requirements on the Gen Con webpage said this tournament requires 16 people to run. I
right.
mean, technically, we
That's
might not
crazy.
have even had 16 on day one, and technically everyone would have showed up, and we might not have even had a tournament at all.
Mm.
So it's that lack of communication for something so important. Um, I think that to me is the first thing that needs to be fixed before the for day one and day two, because people are spending hundreds of dollars, if not over 1,000, for hotels. You know, parking ain't cheap, man. Parking like $40 a day, depending where you're at. Hotels, airport, Gen Con fees to find out that the tournament might not even run.
Yeah,
Especially if you can't make the first day. It
Uh,
makes sense that you bring up that topic. Especially if you can't say you
crazy.
can't go Thursday and your only day is Friday. That's the second
You're,
day.
yep,
That's
You're
crazy.
SOL. You're SOL.
right.
Like,
So
just thinking about it, like, why do they have that requirement? You don't win any cash for if you finish in top 8.
I don't know. You
That's
do. There is
crazy.
cash. I think top 16 cash make a little cash in this tournament. I think, but I could be wrong.
I don't think
No,
so.
no. I think
There
if
was
you made top 8 and you didn't win, I don't think you got cash.
really.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
only
I
the
think it
top
was. I think
eight.
it was top,
Only the top
like,
8 get money, and
Oh.
then the rest of the top 16 get the big cards.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, so top 8 made cash. All right. Well.
Mhm.
Okay. So yeah. So even the people that showed up with decks and they're like, hey, I might switch to my good deck on day two. I guess technically you can say even they were taking a chance that day two might not even happen,
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
right?
risk for sure.
Right. And I don't know if that was communicated on time. I don't know if certain people had access to that information that there were some of the rest of us didn't have. Like I found out about that the day of, or maybe the day of when I came in early and I asked around. But not everyone goes around asking around like I do. So it's that's my big concern over the. I agree with everything you guys said, but my big concern is how are we gonna all pay lots of money, fly out to potentially there not be a tournament, potentially not be day two, because by even if we showed up and they said there's not going to be a day two because of lack of people, number one, I would understand, but also number two, I'd be annoyed because I could have signed up for other tournaments. Now that I'm playing Lorcana, like that shit sells out super fast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
It sure does.
and so I would not have been able to sign up for anything for that because it would have been way too late because I was expecting to play versus.
Yeah.
So yeah, I need to be able to go to a tournament and know that there's gonna be a tournament. And if
Yeah.
that's not the case, then that's not good. I can't blame people for not wanting to shell out a grand and some of it being non-refundable
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
a chance of a tournament.
The
So,
even if
so,
you
so just
if we did, oh, go ahead, Hector.
So just to add, so Jose, so in the past, this has happened with verses. So I recall that verses back in the day, 2018, 2019, probably. Um, so one of the first times that Upper Deck hired like an outside company to do their
Cascade
tournament,
Games. Cascade
Cascade,
Games.
yeah, and they had a
Cascade Games. I
PAX
remember this.
tournament. They had a
This was
PAX
Origins. I
tournament,
think it was Origins or
and
PAX.
they required, I think, 24 or 32 people for it to fire. I
Mm-hmm.
recall. And players had to go buy cards, product for people. I found a friend of mine at PAX and I was like, "Hey, can you sign up? I will buy your ticket in. You don't know how to play? That's fine." That's
Collusion.
insane.
We
That's
just need bodies at
insane.
this point. They just needed
You just need
bodies just
someone
to
to
play.
sign up. I
Yeah.
felt so bad.
The
Um, but
the
like
other thing.
that that BS has happened in the past too.
Yeah.
Well, so really fast, I can understand in some games you're like, we're gonna hit the 16-person limit. But to be honest, what we have Seattle last year had 3 people. So it is very apparent that we can hit under 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing is like if we did the one day, so if we made it Friday, so no worries about getting out of work and stuff like that. You just have one big tournament on Friday, then you have the finals on Sunday. Maybe we don't do a top 16, maybe we do a top 8, and then there's no time constraints. Like during the
That's
final
true.
on Sunday, the goalpost on the time got moved a couple times. Like there were a couple games where the organizers were worried that like we weren't going to be able to get out before the hall closed, and they were like, all right, we have X amount of time left, which is less than like what you guys thought when you started, and that's just really stressful. It's stressful for the players. It's stressful for the organizers. Like we can do away with this. And people had said to me like, well, we could just start earlier. We're starting at 9. Like if we're starting at 7 or 8, like that's really freaking early. If you're at Gen Con and you're like having fun with your friends, maybe you're staying out late. I think you can start at 9. You can have a top 8, and then like you can be done with plenty of time.
Yeah.
I
I agree.
Yeah.
I,
It's
I,
true.
I think
I
Pat
agree with that 100%.
though clearly like if it's one day, I think that Friday is now for legendary, and
No,
and legendary it sold out. There
yeah,
were 64 bodies who played legendary in their tournament,
hmm.
in their 5K. So I think clearly like versus, and we know what happened on Saturday. We know that they gave up Saturday. Yeah, we
Right.
won't say why, but UD decided their Marvel properties were not important enough to have on a Saturday. So
Hmm.
realistically, if it's one day, it's probably Thursday, and that
Hmm.
sucks.
Yeah.
Unless they move Legendary to Thursday. Unless. But
They
Legendary
won't
has
do
the
that.
bigger following, so they probably won't.
Yeah, they
It's
won't do that.
crazy.
So I can understand being behind Legendary because again they have the bigger following. So I would be okay, and I know this doesn't necessarily work for everybody, but day one being Thursday, and then Friday just being a top 8, and then that's it, right? That
That
does
works.
give people
That way you
even
have to Saturday and Sunday to enjoy the con.
exactly. And some people could even fly back home Saturday, which is a lot cheaper. By doing Thursday, Friday, and then Sunday, now you're forcing 4 nights out of a hotel. People
Yep.
work on Monday. It gets complicated, it gets expensive because everyone's leaving Sunday.
Yep.
And let's be honest, to do a top 8 on Friday, we need like half a table.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have like 8 players, half a table. That is all you need, and then so something like that probably would be better. I also think, just for me personally, I'd rather be one day into a top 8 because we don't have enough players to justify a top 16.
Yeah.
Right? You look at a Lorcana, they
At
have
this point in the game, absolutely not. Yeah.
yeah, Lorcana's got an over 2,000 player events, and top 64 make it into day 2, which sounds like a lot, but that's I think like less than it's like 3% or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something really really small, less than 3%. Meanwhile, versus we got like I think if you combine all the players of today, there was about 25 players give or take, and if 16 are making it, more than half the players are making it.
You get a top 8. You get a top 8. You get a
Yeah.
top 8.
Right. So
Yeah.
I mean, I will say
Well,
it was pretty cool that that 9 through 16 did get big cards. That was pretty cool, though.
yeah, that was awesome. That was
I
awesome.
was super disappointed. You know,
You
I
almost had
had
a Spider Man. You almost had a Spider
the
Man.
third pick. I had the third pick. Oh no, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I had the fourth pick. I had the fourth pick. So I
Yeah,
missed
but you
out
gotta
on
you gotta you gotta
finished
you got
one.
you got a pimp card that I promptly bought off you. Yo, I was saying this actually to Mark. The new cards, I don't know if you guys noticed, it is of a decidedly higher quality. Like the old ones were great, but they like you could just tell that they were kind of like a little flimsier. These ones, like they first of all they have a backing on the card, which is really cool. It looks like the back of a versus card, but they're also just clearly more durable. And I have shipped them before, but they do cost like $50, if not more. So I when I've carried them home from tournaments, I will carry them on the airport with me. And these durable cards hold up way better through the airport.
100%, 100%. I got some
so
of the one I got from Midwinter. It's like peeling on the corner. I have to like glue it back on down. You know, and like the quality definitely is an upgrade.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of Sunday, we've talked a lot about a Sunday. Hector, tell us about your Sunday experience.
Okay, so I was matched up against Mitch. So Mitch was playing thing 6.
Yeah.
So I knew it was a bad matchup. Um, and I can't really recall how it went, but yeah, it was L's all around. I think the first game was the Ash combo, and I made some bad plays. I allowed Ash to. I think my plan, which I discussed with Pat beforehand, was if he leaves Ash out, so I would bulk red into
Mhm.
Ash to
Yep.
Killer.
not have to allow it to play to stay around for 3 turns.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I made some bad plays into how I positioned my characters. So 2 turns in a row, Ash was able to crash,
Mm.
and
Mm,
unfortunately, he was face down. So that
yeah.
was
He's at
so I
rhythm
think that was
defense, right?
critical. The critical misplay. My first
Mm.
game. My second game, I think that I didn't level until probably turn 4 or 5, and I think against Sinister Six, you really have to be as aggro as possible. Again, I just think it was bad draws, and it was
Yeah.
fine.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Jose, how did your Sunday go?
did it though. I almost didn't even play Sunday. I'm like, I gotta play Pat. He's got Valkyrie, and I know he's just gonna draw the red, the He Who Remains, the Valkyrie power up, and he's gonna kill me turn 1. And I shit you not, that is exactly what happened.
Yeah. Game one. Game one. I got two former champions with the God Hand.
So I almost didn't go, and shout outs to Dawson for convincing me to stay. Like, just the way the plane is, the going there, the odds of me being able to beat the deck. I honestly don't, like, since we barely play tested, like, I don't think any of us knew what was in each other's list. We had no idea. Um, so I'm like, this is probably not gonna, I'm like, I should just head on out, and I was leaving looking at flights. But, Dawson, he convinced me essentially to stay. So I looked I was like, all right, I'm going to give this a shot because I think he got 9th on day 2. And if I don't go, if I would have just dropped, he would have got 8th. And he would have loved to have played. and it just wouldn't have been fair as well to him. So I decided to stay. I'm glad I did, because number one, big Cartier, and at least I gave it my all. I'm like, I'm just gonna get O2'd really fast, and it is what it is. They showed us the deck list, and I remember looking at your deck list. I was like, okay, what do we got here? There was a whole bunch of 1-drops. I think it was 16 1-drops, 0-2 drops, 5 3-drops. Onion 4 was obviously 4 of. No 5s, and then 4 He Who Remains of War. Valid power-ups.
Yep.
4 different plot twists, and then the 3 different Lokes. The 2 basics and a wild. So I was like, I can actually have a chance here. I was like, he's got 1 Mordo. I'm like, what are the odds that he draws the 1 Mordo? Which, yep. I'm holding. Was it 2 and 3 that you drew him on me? Well, it was the game. First game, like I said, I got handed it. The second game, you had priority, so you went first. And I remember you got like a big old board ski going, and I was like, yeah, I tried to get you a couple times, I think twice with the alt win, and you had like the kitty, and then you did something else. I was like, this is terrible. And then game 3, it was like, I think it was my turn 3. I drew the Mordo, because I was worried about you having a kitty, and then I was able to attack, pay the red, and kitty was offline thanks to Mordo. Yeah.
Did you have kitty in hand at that point?
Have what?
Did you have Shadow Cat in your hand at that point?
No, but so okay.
When you had Mordo out?
The way I looked at it was, I quickly when I after saw the deck list, I quickly did all the math in my head, and which didn't again matter game 1, but game 2, I'm like, I just need to level up, and I'm like, if I can draw my 2-drop on 2. Has 2 health, whatever his name is, Deathlock. And then turn 3, I freeze him. Turn 4, Ultrons, I level up. That should be game for me. And it's essentially what happened game 2. I dropped the 2-drop, I ran my guys into you. And then turn 3, I froze you. And that was pretty much it, because you just had the 1-drops. Like, there was no real threat at that point. So I'm like, I just have to survive till turn 3. Game 3 was kind of the same thing. You had the opener with the level up on turn 1, but you didn't kill me, even though I did have the Shadow Cat that one on turn 1. And I'm like, if he doesn't have it, that means he has to top deck it, or else you would have obviously used it in turn 1. So you didn't use it. My turn 1. I'm like, hopefully he didn't top deck it on turn 2. I tried to run myself in, and that's when you had one.
Yeah. You tried to crash into me, and I was like, I got the red.
And then I was like, crap, I have to Shadow Cat. And then turn 3, you told me, your turn 3, you top deck another one. A second one, and you
red. Yeah, second red, yeah.
Yep. And I saw that. I knew you had the red. You played the Mortal, and you had the red, and you're like, attack, pay the red. You were already ready for the fist bump. And I'm like, this guy already knows I can't do shit.
Yeah. I was like, it was similar to you looking at... Yeah, you looked at my list and I looked at yours, and I was like Shadow Cat was the out. I'm pretty sure there's no other outs.
Yeah, it was. I survived at turn 3, and that game, if you could not kill me that turn, I think I had everything else to be able to just level up, and I think I would have been able to run away with it. Who knows? But I think I could have just frozen Valkyrie, and the rest of your guys, like AEW, without that fearless, they become a lot less scary.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
It is what it is, that's the game. Those good games, and that was it for me. Glad.
So Jose, I have a question for you. This is a little jab that we've been going on for months now.
Sure.
So, is Val good now?
It took multiple years of incursion for her to.
You're gonna give my girl some credit now.
I mean, give it another year of incursions, and then maybe we'll get her incurred. But she didn't make the incursion list quite yet. I know you guys are huge fans of her. I'm not there yet. But these guys piloted her, I think, as best as humanly possible, and they just got really unlucky with running into Sin 6s. Right?
That's unfortunate. It was pretty unfortunate.
There's some skill involved. Yeah, no,
quite well, yeah, 100%.
I think we can all agree that Valkyrie has game. I think that's fair to say.
She definitely has some game, and I think if there was a tournament for her, this was it. Running into Venoms, Venom, Death, that kind of stuff. Whew. Molecule
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, this was made for Valkyrie.
When I
Yeah.
saw that Buckeye was on death, they say taking nothing away from their lists and taking nothing away from Tevin doing really well and PJ finishing second. They had Tech, they had Shadowcat and stuff, but I was like, I think I can fight my way around this. Like, I think if I can go up against one of those locker stats at 1-1, if that's like they it would have had to they would have had to. Well, I guess they could have invented some more combat cancels. It would have been close, but I think I have a shot at that match.
Yeah,
Yeah,
anything could
for
happen,
sure.
right? But I do think in that matchup, especially when I saw that was their deck for day two, I'm like, Pat and Hector, they have a real shot here. I'm like,
Yep.
I like anything could happen, but I do think you guys were favored in that matchup.
Yep. Yep.
Right.
So you that was Jose basically discussed my top 16. So I faced Mitch in the top 8, and this was like a horror movie. It was like you watch your friend get murdered, and then they're like, oh wait, no, they're coming for me next. It was like Jurassic Park. Like I just got eaten by the Mitch T Rex, and now it's my turn. No, but it was like Hector and I, like I said, discussed it ahead of time because we knew he was going to be playing Mitch, and we kind of came up with some lines, and it's a tough matchup. Like Val can't do her alt win. I think I had priority, so I was able to go first, and I think I leveled pretty quickly, and I was able to wound him most turns. But I think he was eventually able to infect me, and I think I got him to. I obviously like he stalled me at Ash, and that was brutal. You know what it was too? I think that first game I frigged him 3 times, maybe even 4. I was dumping a shit ton of cards out of his hand, and he lost like I think 3 of the 4 ashes. And I don't know that he top decked it, but I think he right before turn 6 he was able to draw the ash. I was like, oh my god! And then he was able to just wear me down. And then the last game, I think I leveled like turn 1. No, like the red didn't matter because it's in 6. But I leveled turn 1. I was hitting him. He dropped Venom, and I sort of the Valkyried him. Like I took Venom out immediately, and I was like, "This is going to happen." And then it came to the point that I had another red, and I had Valk up front, and I knew he was going to drop Ash, but I had been able to look at his hand, and I saw that he had Charlie, and it was like I was running low on wounds. I think I had like 4 wounds, and he had a Charlie and 2 greens. And I was like, I can't try to sort of the Valkyrie as Ash because he's just going to kill me with Charlie. There's like, I have nothing in my kit can stop 2 Charlie attacks. So I opted to use that wild instead of using it as a red. I used it as a blue with Heimdall to get Mordo, and I put Mordo on the field so he couldn't Charlie me. But Mitch has plans within plans, and it was slowing the inevitable. So hats off to Mitch, great player, great guy, and he took down 2 Valkyries.
He saved the tournament for everybody else.
Yeah,
Man,
exactly.
it totally sucked that all 3 of us, you played against Jose, Pat, and
Yeah.
then I lost to Mitch and you lost to Mitch. That means
Yeah.
if I had beaten Mitch, then that means that we would have had to play each other, and then you would
Yeah.
have played Jose and me
Yeah.
consecutive games. I don't know what was going up with the seeding.
Yeah. It was an LGD meat grinder.
Yeah, this is the conspiracy.
I think that was
Collusion.
all around
Collusion.
the bracket. I don't have the bracket, but I think that's what kind of happened. Like we all got stuck in our little whatever the quarter of the bracket, whatever you want to call it. And then I think Buckeye they got stuck together. Like I think Tevin and PJ, and then I think Big 3 or whatever the other guys are called. Or Apex, like some other team got stuck in like another quadrant of the bracket. So like, somehow instead of being diversified throughout, we all just got stuck and had to knock each other out. It was a weird tournament.
Yep.
Yeah, very odd.
Let's see. Overall thoughts. Obviously the day 1, day 2, and advantage whatnot aside, it was still a great tournament. I think I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did too. It was it's just I like we're joking around about whether Jose thinks that Val can hang. I like Val. I won a regional with her. I think she's a great character. She's super fun, and so I had a great time playing her. What did you guys think?
I came for the people, and because it's normally a bad thing having such a small amount of players, but in this case, it's good. I think I brought this up in other streams before. It really is like family. Being able to see these people, even like I haven't played versus, I haven't seen most of these people since what is it, midwinter in January, and it's like no time passes. It's great to see everyone, great to talk to everyone. Um, that was it. Like, yeah, that was it for me. That was the greatness of the tournament, the people.
I'm actually really surprised that there weren't any Professor X's in the field, but I guess they're just gonna have to do that next time.
Ooh, secret sauce. Ah, she got some secret sauce.
I
With
always got
Professor
secret sauce. He's chefing up in this
X.
bitch.
Oh, all right. I gotta see this.
Watch when I come back in 2038. Uh, oh
Mhm.
man, no. So
So,
mine's
so,
gonna be
so
only.
also,
Why would you say?
I'm sorry.
Hector
I
sneak dissing.
apologize, Bosh. I apologize, Bosh.
Nah, but
So
go ahead.
me? Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. I'm sorry. So just it was an awesome tournament. I had a lot of fun. It was cool to. The last time I played in Gen Con was, I believe, 2019. Um, and I think that I piloted S- Sabretooth that year. Um,
Oh my god, was it
and it was really
Sabretooth Con?
exciting to. It was really exciting to come back. It was cool to see some of the people that I played against in 2019, and some of the, others as well. Um, I think that I certainly have some actually rants that I've already made. But overall, it was awesome.
Yeah.
I think that the feel of the tournament is a lot different. Having played in some, kind of local tournaments, like nothing like a national championship in Lorcana and some other card games, the feel of versus, the the concept of taking your MC and actually leveling him or her up and creating your deck around an MC, I I think that kudos to the designers. I think many of us have complaints as to how the game has evolved or not evolved over the course of the last couple years. But I've been talking to Pat about wanting to come back for a while. So I'm super glad I was able to come back and play.
Yeah, it was echoing what Jose said. It is always great seeing everyone. It's great seeing Apex, great seeing the big three, great seeing Buckeye, great seeing everyone. Thanks. I mean, shout out to all the players and all the teams. Shout out to Apex in particular. Dawson helped us get a reservation at that steak place. That was awesome. Yeah, it's I mentioned earlier, like it was great to see PJ. PJ's obviously been on quite the journey this year. He's doing really well, and then obviously shout out to John Phillips. He's been plugging a kingpin for quite some time, and it paid off.
I'm still
He
willing to
finished his
get that run
story.
back.
He definitely finished his story. He finally
Mhm.
won at Gen Con with his baby Kingpin. Mhm.
I tell him I'm really happy to do the run back with Kingpin.
Yikes.
Are we gonna bring back the grudge match series?
Yo, if we bring back the Grudge Match series, like I want to see Jose versus Bert. I want to
Oh yeah.
commentate that match.
Something. I have this wild feeling that you're gonna see that match in Florida in a few weeks.
That'll be nuts. I'll love it.
Live on stream.
Bert said he's taking time off though.
Oh, I'm confident he'll be there. I just have that feeling.
Yeah, he's gonna show up last minute, make a deck on the plane like good old Phillips, and
Yeah,
the night before, and top eight and win. Yeah.
right.
Oh, not win, but top eight, sure, but not win.
Oh,
Throwing shade.
I'm going over there to Florida to defend my Florida title, regional title. So
Oh,
you know how that goes.
watch right
Make
now.
it back to
Swear.
back champ. Let's go. Do it.
Gotta go. It's gonna be rough, I'm sure. I know Buckeye's got a few people going there. As I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Burt shows up. I'm pretty confident. That man doesn't miss anything on the East Coast. Uh, who else? Apex always has one or two people, and so it's good. It's gonna be a fun grind. In Florida themselves, they have some good players. It'll be a fun grind. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. So,
Hmm.
all right. So, what's everybody's like final thoughts on Gen Con and just wrap up, do a little summary of everything you said today. So let's start with Pat since nobody wants to go first.
um, I mean, we discussed that you got into some extracurriculars ahead of this. We did kind of do like our overall thoughts already, but I'm gonna do some more right now.
Yeah.
No, it was a lot of fun. Versus obviously a game we all love. I hope it sticks around. Really looking forward to the new set. Man, Hector, been a while since Spider-Man's gotten an impactful set, and now's the time. It makes the old banning of queens that much more painful.
Oh,
But I am looking forward to the next
I was gonna say something about that, Pat.
Go ahead. Now's your
set.
time. Wrap it up.
Okay, come on. So the incursion list. So I think overall I have a few problems with it. I'm pretty sure that Ash was not banned, and
Right.
neither was the Sinister Six. Um,
Really?
and they went ahead and they banned Queens. And so I think the story that I have in verses is that when some of the Spider Friends cards came out, the old ones, right? That was when I was initially starting to play, realized that they were whack, and actually
Yeah.
stopped playing for a while after that.
Yeah,
Because
they
if
were
you know
quite
me, you know
garbage.
that I like to play certain characters, and I tried to make black costumes Spider-Man work for the longest time. I really want like Quake and Black Costume Spider-Man. And so I was elated when some of the new cards came out and they had cool new features of Spider Friends. But then they gave Venom, they made Venom so OP
Yeah.
and they gave him all the tech that the whack MCs in Spider Friends had as well. And that's a big complaint I have with some of the design of the game. The Spider Friends plot twists and equipment suck so
Yeah.
much. They're targeted against Sinister Six, right? The all the one of
Yeah.
equipment, and
The
they don't
spider
really
gear, yeah.
do much. And it's just like, and Venom can actually use them all anyway. So I think that the answer was to ban Venom and allow Queens to exist, so that some of the Spider Friends, some of the hot cards for Spider Friends are going to be a lot better. I don't know. So we'll see what the cards look like. But overall, I'm very very disappointed.
Wait, hold on.
As also a person
Uh,
who grew up in Queens and lives in Queens now, I was particularly disappointed that I never got the opportunity to go to a tournament and play Queens.
Yeah, I think you could have easily banned Venom. You could have easily banned our like We Are Carnage and kept Queens, and so all the Spider Friends still keep the benefit. But Venom's toast, so it doesn't matter. Like I think the idea was like we got to get rid of Venom and all that entails. But again, our name is Carnage or whatever. We are Carnage. Venom done. You can leave Queens for the other Spider MCs because what like a lot of the overpowered other Spider-Man MCs like I mean, well, one of the only ones, Cloak and Dagger, Jose got them banned. So like, there's Queens would have been like an amazing thing going into this next set. It's and like if we could do a switcheroo, Ash and Queens, that would be phenomenal.
Yeah,
they
that
should have
actually
banned
makes a lot of
Sinister Six.
that's actually really good. If ban Ash and let Queen survive, or let some of the plot twists survive, right? Because that's really what
Yeah,
makes Venom. So he's a strong MC, but those heals is what really gives him game right now. So
yeah.
switching that with an Ash would have been a smart idea.
Yeah, if you like, you can keep it without Ash. The Sinister Six is good, but they're not overpowered. I know a lot of people love them and they're very versatile. No, like I absolutely get that. There's ways of making Sandman, giving Sandman extra life without Ash, but like Ash makes it just like backbreaking.
Yeah. Here,
Um,
here,
that's,
here,
seems
here.
as good a place as any to end it.
That'll be the last word, you know. Just put in here, here. I'm
Well,
gonna
no,
chop it up and put it at the end. Here,
Here,
here.
here.
here's the last word. Here's the last word right here. The last word is I want to shout out to my teammates. You guys are my friends and my teammates. I appreciate us working together. I appreciate us as friends. Yeah, no, I think LGD is a great team, and I'm happy to be on with you guys.
Um, I would just like to say that I hate all of you for taking me away from my daughter for 2 hours.
Hey, just sure. Because I was told that there was going to be rankings of teams. Is that not what happened?
No, no, the rankings that is an
Yeah.
offline discussion.
That's true. Like
Offline
I have
discussion.
notes.
Yes, his
I have
notes.
notes.
Hold
For
on.
everyone listening, number one, as I said, I love the community. I'll never shy from that. But I was ready for this video, rank 8 2.0, but the rest of the team they took from me. So
That's why we're recording it so
Yeah,
I can edit all
I
that
have
out.
pages
yeah, yeah.
and pages of notes
We
here.
had to censor a couple of members. We had to censor like a couple of members.
Yeah.
We
Well,
had to
what
take
we're
the
gonna do
couple
is
away. We had to take the couple away.
Jose, if you go down to Florida and rip it up, I know you will. If you come out on top, we can discuss the format of the next recap.
deal. Okay.
Yeah.
Deal.
I do good in Florida. Fair enough.
You can
Yeah,
let it. You can let it rip. You can let it rip.
I'll let
Uncensored.
we really should have a 4v4, right? Because I know that Team Apex, they can have a 4v4 within themselves. They can actually have an 8v8. But most all the teams have 4 members, right? At least 4 members. We could do a
At least, except the big three.
That would be hot.
Yeah, the big three have
Yeah,
Caleb,
That
don't
would be
they?
hot.
Isn't
yeah.
That
Caleb
would be
They
part
do.
of the
hot.
big three technically?
They technically have Caleb too. That's true.
Yeah, yeah. We should set that up. We should do that for fun. We should do a 4v4.
That would
Ooh,
like a free for all. That would be fun. That would be
Yeah,
really fun.
I'm alt winning.
that'll be
I'm
a
already
long
losing.
game. I'm gonna let you know that'll be a long game.
Nope.
That
I'm
would
a
be.
Wait, is
alt
this
That'd
win.
be a
the same
long
I'll
time?
game.
deck everybody out on
Is this
turn
the
6.
same time?
Hmm.
Is this the same time?
Yes,
Well,
we'd
Yeah,
all go against each other.
yeah.
Yeah.
4v4.
oh, shit, that was so.
I mean, old school versus had that. It
I
was
didn't.
3v3,
I
right?
Hector's like,
played
I'm
in
gonna
that
play
four by
Valorant and just
four in
volunteer
Ohio.
everything and win.
I played in that 4x4 in Ohio, and I didn't play a turn. I kept getting hit every turn. What?
All right, guys. Yeah. So that's what. Just so we're all clear, that's what happens if we do a 4v4. I take out Hector first.
Yeah.
Because he's the GOAT. He solitaires decks and wins.
Go for real.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You can't. We can't hang with that sauce.
Nah.
All right.
All right,
All right.
fellas. Well,
We get out of here.
yeah. Thank you again, everybody, for watching. I'm sorry for listening, right? Because this is technically a podcast. But thanks everybody for listening. This has been Let's Get Dangerous Gen Con 2024 recap. Remember, like and subscribe. We're gonna be here for a minute, y'all.
Mm.